Hello, everybody on YouTube. Welcome to Silmarillion Sunday Part 11. If you're watching this, that means that you have made it through the first 10 parts of the Silmarillion, so you are now 14 chapters into a very long book. Congratulations for being here so much. I am currently live right now on Twitch. Folks are going to be able to answer, I'll be able to answer some folks' questions in the chat. So feel free to join there. We stream every Sunday at noon Eastern Time. You may notice that my background looks a little bit different. That's because we're using maps today. So as I have said previously, Chapter 14 of the Silmarillion is mostly exposition of maps. Where people are, where they live. I think my dog just fell off the counter. River, come on. Anyway. Heck of a way to start a YouTube video, but I gotta keep going. Anyway, so we are here on Chapter 14, where we sort of get an overview of where people are, where Fingolfin is, where Feyenoord is, where Fingolfin is, where Fingon is, where all of the Sons of Feyenoor are, where Thingol is, and so what we're gonna do is we're gonna add a little bit of text. So I'm going to be adding various texts to portions of the map. The text will not stay there. So if you want to take your own notes or have your own map out with you, that's fine. But I am going to be zooming in and out as we go. So when we last left off, we had kind of hit this very hard stopping point where everything is kind of par for the course, right? Morgoth has not been defeated, but he's sort of been pushed back after a couple of battles. There have been 3 major battles in Middle-earth. The elves from the Undying Lands, the Noldor, have come over. They're all here in Middle-earth. The elves that never went to the Undying Lands, that stayed in Middle-earth, like Thingol, they are just sort of coexisting with these elves. The dwarves are here as well. They've got a pretty good relationship going. Some human groups have started interacting with some of the elves, and so we get this place called Beleriand. And Beleriand takes up a majority of the map. You'll see it, and this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to make myself a little smaller and move myself across the map. So you've got Beleriand here, East Beleriand over here. You've got West Beleriand over here. You've got select Doriath, which is right over here in the middle. You've got Hithlum, you've got Anfauglith, you've got the mountains over here, which is Ered Luin, and we'll explain all of this sort of as we go. So, I'm going to get started on the reading, but this one is going to be a little bit more of an interruption. I will be interrupting myself a lot. I will be typing in text a lot and sort of explaining where we are. So, here we go. Also, for those wondering, yes, this is Middle-earth. If it looks different than the Middle-earth you're used to, there's a reason why. It is spoilers, so I will wait to explain that a little bit later. All right, here we go. Chapter 14 of Beleriand and its realms. This is the fashion of the lands into which the Noldor came, in the north of the western regions of Middle-earth, in the ancient days. And here also is told of the manner in which the chieftains of the Eldar, meaning the elves, held their lands and leaguer upon Morgoth after the Dagor Aglareb, the 3rd battle in the Wars of Beleriand. So that was the battle we read last chapter, the Dagor Aglareb. So, also, just a quick thing, the next few paragraphs I'm about to read are not on this map. I couldn't find a map of Angband that I could fit into everything, so I just chose sort of not to use it. It's a little bit easier to wrap your head around when you see it there. And you know what? Why don't I bring this up a little bit? Because it says Map of Beleriand. By the way, this is a picture of a page of one of my books, and then I digitized the crap out of it. So in case anyone is wondering, that's how I did this. All right, here we go. In the north of the world, Melkor had, in the ages past, reared Ered Engrin, the Iron Mountains, as a fence to his citadel of Autumno, and they stood upon the borders of the region of everlasting cold. In the great curve from east to west, behind the walls of Ered Engrin, behind the walls of Ered Engrin in the west, where they went backwards, where they bent back northwards. Melkor built another fortress as a defense against assault that might come from Valinor, the Undying Lands. And when he came back to Middle-earth, as is told, he took up his abode in the endless dungeons of Angband, the Hells of Iron. For in the wars of power, the Valar, in their haste to overthrow him in his great stronghold of Autumno, did not wholly destroy Angband, nor search out its deep places. Beneath Eren Engrin, he made great tunnels, which issued south from the mountains, and there he made a mighty gate. But above the gate and behind it, even to the mountains, he piled a thunderous tower of Thangorodrim. That was made of the ash and slag of his subterranean furnaces. So just think about this. It is a giant tower made out of the slag, right? Like the waste metal. Visually, it's very interesting to think about. They were black and desolate and exceedingly lofty, and smoke issued from their tops dark and foul upon the northern sky. Before the gates of Angband, filth and desolation spread southward. So, for many miles over the wide plains of Ardgarlan, but after the coming of the sun, rich grasses rose there. And while Angband was besieged and its gates shut, there were green things, even among the pits and broken rocks before the doors of hell. So, to give you an idea visually, it's, that's my old, if I am, pretend that the blue part, which is my other background, pretend that this part, sort of where my head is the more northern parts of where Angband is, right? It's tall, it's very much in the north, and it kind of spans beyond this. All right, let's close this and get back here. So the first part we're going to be talking about is over here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to expand this and bring it down. See, I'm learning technology. This is a place we're going to talk about called Hithlum. So, let's get started, shall we? To the west of Thangorodrim lay Hilsolome. Hisilum. We call it Hithlum. Hang on. To the west of Thangorodrim lay Hithilsome, the land of mist. For so it was called by the Noldor in their own tongue because of the clouds that Morgoth thither sent, but during their encampment. Hithlum it became in the tongue of the Sindar that dwelt there in those regions. So this area, all right here, Hithlum. That might make you dizzy. That's probably a terrible idea. Don't do that. Here we go. It was a fair land while the siege of Angband lasted, although its air was cold and winter there, or its air was cool and winter there was cold. In the west, there was bounded by Ered Loman, the Echoing Mountains. So you'll see sort of where my icon is, or where my video is Ered Loman, over to the south here. So that is the mountain range westmost. The Echoing Mountains that marched near the sea, and in the east and south by the great curve of Ered Wethrin, the Shadowy Mountains that looked across Ardgarlan and the Vale of Sirion. So we've got Ered Wethrin sort of over here to my right. Yeah, my right. This might be a little bit confusing. So this is where Hithlum is. And these two mountain ranges are the two ones. Now, I say you don't have to worry about the landmarks or any of those things, but because this chapter is almost entirely geography, I feel like it's important that we point those things out. Also, Ribsicles, thank you so much for the follow, and Black Sun, thank you for the follow. And also, that Tracks Guy, awesome. Also, Padding, thank you so much for the gift sub. That's very sweet of you. All right, so we've got Ered Loman. So, Fingolfin and Fingon, his son, held Hithlum, and for the most part of Fingolfin's folk dwelt in Mithrim, above the shores of the Great Lake. So, I'm going to move myself again. Lake Mithrim, which is to my right. See that thing? You can't see my cursor, sorry. It's just to my right, Lake Mithrim. So that is where Fingolfin is for the most part, with his son Fingon. Fingon's folk dwelt in Mithrim above the shores of the Great Lake. To Fingon was assigned Dor Lomin, which is right underneath me. But their chief fortress was at Ethel Sirion in the east of Eredwethrin. And Ethel Sirion, you'll see, is just to the right of the mountains over here. So I think I will use my left and right. So if you want, to the right of me over here is where you will see Ethel Sirion, which is where Fingolfin is. Now, Fingolfin, if you forget, it's okay. Fingolfin is the king of the Noldor, and the Noldor are all the elves that got exiled from the Undying Lands and are now back here. Sorry, I keep interrupting myself every few seconds, but this is kind of where we're at. All right, here we go. But their chief fortress was at Ethel Sirion in the east of Eredwethrin, whence they kept watch upon Ardgarlan. And their cavalry rode upon that plain, even to the shadow of Thangorodrim. For from few their horses had increased swiftly, and the grass of Ardgarlan was rich and green. Of those horses, many of the sires came from Valinor, and they were given to Fingolfin by Maethros in atonement for his losses, for they had been carried by ship to Loskar. So, this, just as a quick recap, is Hithlum. Hithlum right here is where Fingolfin lives, the king of the Noldor, and his son, Fingon. It's where they live. That's where a majority of the Noldor live. We are now going to move west of Dor Lomin. And hang on, you know what? Why don't I get rid of that background and make this a little bit bigger? And there we go. So, now we approach the place called Nevrast, which is going to be just above me. Here we go. West of Dor Lomin, beyond the echoing mountains, which south of the Firth of Drengist marched inland, lay Nevrast, that signified the hither shores in the Sindarin tongue. That name was given at first to all the coastland south of the Firth, but afterwards only to the land whose shores lay between Drengist and Mount Taras. For many years was the realm of Turgon the Wise, son of Fingolfin. So you'll remember, Turgon lives where I am now. So Turgon is up here in the north. I'm sorry, Turgon is right here, but he is the son of Fingolfin. Fingolfin is the king of the Noldor. He's up here. His son is here in Nevrast. There for many years was the realm of Turgon the Wise, son of Fingolfin, bounded by the sea and by Ered Lomin, and by the hills, which continued to the walls of Eredwethrin, westward, from Ivrin to Mount Taras, which stood upon a promontory. By some, Nevrast was held to belong rather to Beleriand rather than Hithlum, for it was a milder land, watered by the wet winds from the sea and sheltered by the cold north winds that blew over Hithlum. It was a hollow land, surrounded by mountains and great cliffs higher than the plains behind, and no river flowed thence. And there was a great mere in the midst of Nevrast, with no certain shores, being encircled by the wide marshes. Linewin was the name of that mere, because of the multitude of birds that dwelt there, of such as love tall reeds and shallow pools. Tolkien's confusing sometimes. What can I say? And at the coming of the Noldor, many of the Grey Elves lived in Nevrast, near the coast, especially by Mount Taras. I'll see if I can find Mount Taras. Is that here? So Ivrin is just above me right here, and here we go. Mount Taras is just above me here. Hope that helps. Oh, Chris is here. Thank goodness. Chris, you can help me with my pronunciation. For those that don't know, Wizard Way Chris is another member of the Tolkien TikTok realm. We had them on a couple of days ago. Was that last Wednesday? Or two Fridays ago, I think. So Chris, you can tell me how to pronounce Linewin, Linawen. Anyway, there's Mount Taras. Let's keep going. all the peoples that took Torgon for their lord, and the mingling of the Noldor and the Sindar came to pass soonest there. And Torgon dwelt long in those halls that he named Vinyamar. And the name Vinyamar is right above me. Look at that. Under Mount Taras, beside the sea. So, just to give you an idea, Torgon, one of the sons, and Torgon's important, so remember his name. Torgon is right here, right above me, right? To give you a recap, Torgon is here, Fingon is here, and then, there's so many things, and then Fingolfin is here, ish. We're just getting started, y'all. South of Ardgarlan, the great highland named Darthonian, which we will see momentarily. Let me just fix this. Beleriand map. We're going to make it a little smaller. Sorry about the black screen there. One day I'll figure out a better way to do this. Okay. South of Ardgarlan, the great highland named Darthonian, stretched for 60 leagues from west to east. Great pine forests it bore, especially in its northern and western side. By gentle slopes from the plains it rose to a bleak and lofty land, where lay many tarns at the feet of bare tors, whose heads were higher than the peaks of Eredwethrin. But southward, where it looks toward Doriath, it fell suddenly, in dreadful precipices. So there's a big old mountain range there, followed by hills. All right. All right. Okay, here we go. Linewin. Linewin. Thank you. Appreciate it, Chris. So I was pronouncing it incorrectly. That's all right. Thank you, though. All right. Sorry, just looking at the map, I am getting a little turned around. There we go. From the northern slopes of Darthonian, Angrod and Egnor, sons of Finarfin, looked out over the fields of Ardgarlan, where the vassals of their brother Finrod, lord of Nargothrond, their people were few, for the land was barren, and the great highlands behind them deemed to be a bulwark that Morgoth would not lightly seek to cross. Sorry, I'm just looking at the map myself, trying to get myself situated. I love this map. Between Darthonian and the shadowy mountains was the narrow vale, whose sheer walls were clad with pines. But the vale itself was green, for the river Sirion flowed through it, hastening towards Beleriand. Finrod held the pass of Sirion, and upon its isles of Tor Sirion in the midst of the river he built a mighty watchtower, Minas Tirith. Sound familiar? But afterwards, Nargothrond was made. He committed that fortress mostly to the keeping of Orodreth, his brother. So, we're going to make this a little bit smaller. See what we can do. Also, Sniper Wolf, thank you for the follow. Much appreciated, friend. Thank you. All right, so I'm trying to find it, because no joke. Here we go. Okay, we've got Mouth of Sirion here. Chris, feel free to help me out here. Oh, Nargothrond. You're reading my mind, Chris. Absolutely wonderful. So, Nargothrond is right here. Doriath is here. And we've got the Mouth of Sirion sort of down where I am right now. I'm trying to look for... Did I totally miss it? Did I totally miss pointing out Darthonian? I might have. There's Thingol and Melian, Torgon, Brithambar. All right, so Finrod. No, sorry, we were talking about Finarfin. Y'all, I'm a little bit lost, not gonna lie. Also, Emily, thank you for the sub. Very kind of you. So let's see if we can zoom in a little bit. There we go. So here's the Mouth of Sirion, which is the river right here to my right. And then we've got the Fens of Sirion. So Sirion is the great river, and then it kind of just keeps going and going and going and going and going, and then we get to Darthonian, which is slightly more north. But Darthonian's kind of interesting because it's different. I'll move myself off to the side there, so it is now to my left. Sorry, I'm weird on the Twitch thing here. All right. So that's where Finarfin is. Finarfin, the Sons of Feyenoord. So between Darthonian and the Shadowy Mountains there lay... I read that part already, sorry. Now the great and fair country of Beleriand lay on either side of the mighty river Sirion. So we kind of just went over that, but I will zoom out a little bit and let you all see that. So we've got East and West Beleriand, right? East Beleriand over here, you can see just under my name. West Beleriand over here. The mouth of Sirion, and I think you all can see me moving, right? You can see me moving as I move my sort of video screen, my personal camera. Hope you can, otherwise I've just been doing this for nothing. Anyway, the River Sirion plays a pretty important part, and I would remember it. So it goes all the way up from here, goes further south, and kind of separates the part of Beleriand. So we've got West Beleriand on our left, and then East Beleriand just below me. All right. Let's read about it. Now the great and fair country of Beleriand lay on either side of the mighty Sirion, renowned in song, which rose at Ethel Sirion, which we talked about, which is where Fingolfin and company are, just up north here, Ethel Sirion, right here. That. All right. Renowned in song, which rose at Ethel Sirion and skirted the edge of Ardgarlan ere he plunged through the pass, becoming even fuller with the streams of the mountain. Thence he flowed south for 130 leagues, gathering the waters of many tributaries, until at a mighty flood he reached his many mouths and sandy deltas at the Bay of Balar, which I will show you right here is to my right. So this is the Bay of Balar. There's also an island there called the Isle of Balar. Also, Emily from Lothlorien, thank you for the sub, and Sniper Wolf, thank you for the follow. I think I may have said that already, but just in case I didn't. All right. Following Sirion from north to south, there lay, upon the right hand of West Beleriand, the forest of Brethil. So let's go into West Beleriand for a second. And make that a little bit bigger. And I'll leave some of you to sort of find part of this on the map for yourself until I wrap up there. And following from north to south there lay upon the right hand in West Beleriand from north the forest of Brethil between Sirion and Teiglin. Or Teiglin. Teiglin. Chris, if you're still here, let me know. And then the realms of Nargothrond between Teiglin and Nogrod. And the river Nogrod rose in the falls of Irvin in the south face of Dorloman, and flowed some 80 leagues ere he joined Sirion in Non-Tathran, I guess. The land of willows, south of Non-Tathran, was the region of mead filled with many flowers, where few folk dwelt, and beyond lay marshes and isles of reeds about the mouths of Sirion, and the sands of his delta emptied of all living things save birds and seeds. Now, this is about the part where people quit. If they've made it this far, they kind of quit because this is a really confusing chapter. I'm even having a little bit of trouble with it, and I prepared for this. Anyway, let's keep going. But the realm of Nargothrond extended also west of Norrog to the realm of to the river Nenning that reaches the sea at Eglarest, and Finrod became the overlord of all the elves of Beleriand between Sirion and the sea. So, the elven, I guess I'll call him Elven Prince for now, Finrod. Finrod is a very important elf. You're going to want to remember him. They are here. Finrod is basically here, the realm of Nargothrond. You can kind of see the text above me there. This came out really well. I'm glad this picture is so good. So, that's where they are. That's where Finrod and all of his elves are. There dwelt those of the Sindar who loved ships, and Círdan... Oh, I'm sorry, I missed that. Finrod... And Finrod became the overlord of all the elves of Beleriand between Sirion and the sea, save only in the Falas. There dwelt those of the Sindar who still loved ships, and Círdan the shipbuilder was their lord. But between Círdan and Finrod there was friendship and alliance. And with the aid of the Noldor, the havens of Brithumbar and Eglarest were built. So, let's zoom in a little bit. Zoom in a little bit. There we go. So, you can see just to my right, Brithumbar and Eglarest. This is more or less where we see a lot of the elves making their homes. So, the elves, and humans in general, have a tendency to settle where water is. It makes transportation easier with the ships, and it makes farming a lot easier because you can use, technology and turn wheels. Anyway, this is kind of the area we're focusing on right now. Behind their great walls, there became fair towns and harbors with quays and piers of stone. Upon the cape west of Eglarest, Finrod raised the tower of Barad Nimras, or Nimraeus? Might be Nimraeus. Chris, if you're still here, let me know. Barad Nimras, to watch the western sea, though needlessly as it proved. For at no time ever did Morgoth essay, meaning essay, E-S-S-A-Y, meaning think to build ships or to make war by sea. Water all his servants shunned, and to the sea none would willingly go nigh, save in dire need. Probably because Ulmo would just absolutely mess them up. With the aid of the elves of the havens, some of the folk of Nargothrond built new ships, and they went forth and explored the great Isle of Balar. And you'll remember, we talked about the Isle of Balar, which is right here. To my right, the bottom of the screen. Sorry I can't make that bigger. It's the end of the map. The word, Chris, was Barad Nimras. B-A-R-A-D space Nimras. N-I-M-R-A-S. Let me know if I'm pronouncing that. So, Ramona, for those that have maybe just joined a little bit late, Ramona, this is a map of the Middle-earth in the First Age, basically. We're kind of skipping around. You'll see a full one of it. I'll expand it out a little bit later as we go. So they explored the Isle of Balar, thinking there to prepare a last refuge if evil came, but it was not their fate that they should ever dwell there. Thus the realm of Finrod was the greatest by far, though he was the youngest of the great lords of the Noldor. Fingolfin, Fingon, and Maethros, and Finrod Felagund. But Fingolfin was held overlord of all the Noldor. And you'll remember, Fingolfin is up in the north. I'll make this a little bit smaller so we can see. So just a quick recap. Fingolfin, king of the Noldor, is up here. His son is to my left in Dor-Lomin. His other son is in Nevrast, and then another one is down here. We haven't even gotten to the western parts. This is just West Beleriand. Barad Nimras. Thank you, Chris. Appreciate it. Upon the left of Sirion lay East Beleriand. Wait, upon the left hand of Sirion lay East Beleriand. The left hand... Okay, so hang on. Technically, this is right of the mountain if you're looking at the map. But the left hand of the river as it flows, maybe. I don't know. I'm going to put myself in the corner right now so we can see East Beleriand a little bit better. And we'll zoom up a little bit. There we go. Upon the left hand of Sirion lay East Beleriand, at its widest 100 leagues from Sirion to Galleon. And Galleon is... The river Galleon is right here to my right, the river Galleon. So from here to here is about 100 leagues, here to here. Hope that helps. I'll put myself in the corner here for now, make it a little easier. Upon the left hand of Sirion lay East Beleriand, at its widest 100 leagues from Sirion to Galleon, and the borders of Assyrian. And first, between Sirion and Mindeb lay the empty land of Dimbar under the peaks of Chrysegrim, abode of the eagles. So that's where the eagles live. And actually, I don't know if I can find that in a hot second. You know what? I'm not sure. Off the top of my head, I am not sure where that is. What am I looking for? The peaks of Chrysegrim. I totally missed that part when I was taking notes for this. Anyway, let's keep it going. Between Mindeb under the upper waters of Esgalduin lay the no-land of Dar Dungortheb, and that region was filled with fear. For upon its one side the power of Melian fenced in the north march of Doriath, and you'll see Doriath in the middle of your screen right now. But upon the other side lay the sheer precipices of Ered Gorgoroth, which are just north of Doriath. I'll move my thing and it'll be just above me. So the region we're talking about right now is just above me. There's Doriath, where Thingol and Melian are. There's Nan Dangortheb, and there is Ered Gorgoroth, the mountain range. I'm going to put myself in the corner again. Between Mindelb and the upper waters of Esgalduin lay the no-land of Nan Dungortheb, and that region was filled with fear. For upon its one side the power of Melian fenced the north march of Doriath, but upon the other side lay the sheer precipices of Ered Gorgoroth, mountains of terror, fell down by high Darthonian. Thither, as it was earlier told, Ungoliant had fled from the whips of the Balrogs, and there she dwelt a while, filling the ravines with her deadly gloom. And there still, when she had passed away, her foul offspring lurked, and wove their evil nets, and the thin waters that spilled from Ered Gorgoroth were defiled, and perilous to drink, for the hearts of those who tasted them were filled with shadow and madness of despair. Y'all, hang on for 1 second. I hear my dog, and I apologize. I'm home alone this time, so I just want to make sure they're okay. In the meantime, talk amongst yourselves in chat, and, yeah, have fun. I'll be right back. Just kidding. We're fine. Hi, everybody. That's going to confuse some people on YouTube. Sorry about that, but we're back. Anyway. Glazed donuts are superior. That's what they were saying. Is that what y'all are fighting about? Is that what you're fighting about? I love it. All right. So, remember when we were talking about how Ungoliant fled to Middle-earth? That's where she went. Okay. All living things else shunned that land, and the Noldor would pass through Nan Dungortheb only at great need, by paths near to the border of Doriath, and furthest from the haunted hills. That way was made long before, in the time Eir Morgoth returned to Middle-earth. And, if one fared upon it, he came eastward to Esgalduin, where still there stood in the days of the siege the stone bridge of Iant Iar, Iantiaur. Tolkien, 3 vowels in a row does not... Sorry. But I do see it on the map, so we're zooming in. Here we go. I can't zoom in much more. Sorry. Okay, I'm going to put myself just underneath it. That is Ian Ithor. That's the bridge. That way was made long before, in a time ere Morgoth returned to Middle-earth, and if one fared upon it, he came eastward to Asgalduin, where still stood in the days of the siege the stone bridge of Ayant Ior. Thence he passed through Darthonian, the Silent Lands, which is here. We're getting there. There we go. And crossing to Arosiach, Arossiach, which signifies the fords of Eros, came to the fourth marches of Beleriand, where dwelt the Sons of Feyenoord. Whew, okay. I'm going to take a break and take some questions if anybody has them. When people tell me that they couldn't get through the Silmarillion, I tell them just make it through until a certain point, but then they get to this chapter and it's like, what is happening? If you don't have a map and you're not into maps, I get it. That's okay. But this is a confusing chapter, right? Let's zoom out a little bit here just to kind of give people some perspective as we go along. So this is a map of Beleriand and the lands. So far, we have talked about Hithlum, just above me, which is where the king of the Noldor live, Fingolfin. One of his sons lives to my left in Dor-Lomin. Another one lives here in Nevrast, and another one lives here in the Falas, close to West Beleriand. For those wondering, this is chapter 14, and we are going to get started in just a bit. We're going to pick up. Do the eagles live in big nests, or do they establish a society? So they, I think, live in nests or caves in nests. It's kind of unclear. So, yeah, I'm totally not sure, actually. In the meantime, you're still confused? Yeah, Belladonna, me too. I did contemplate skipping this chapter, but I thought it might be interesting for some people to see the maps. And if you like taking notes yourself, just kind of knowing where people are, it's maybe a little bit easier. When we finish this chapter, I will make this significantly easier to think about. We still have 4 pages to go, so I want to keep going. All right. Thence he came to pass. All right, so we're on to Doriath now. You know what? Why don't I just prepare for that? We are going to zoom in a little bit here to Doriath, which is going to be in the middle of your screen here. I will still be in the corner. Southward lay the guarded woods of Doriath, abode of Thingol the Hidden King. Now, I've said in the past, Thingol is an important character. Let's remember him. Into whose realm none passed save by his will. Its northern and lesser part, the forest of Neldoreth, was bound east and south by the dark river Asgalduin, which bent westward in the midst of the land. And between Aros and Asgalduin lay the denser and greater woods of Region. Upon the southern banks of Asgalduin, where it turned westward towards Sirion, were the caves of Menegroth, which are... Do they have them in this map? Hang on, I have to look again, because the caves of Menegroth are important. Forest of Brethil, Amondel. It might not be on this map. Hang on. Upon the southern bank of Asgalduin, so I gotta find Asgalduin. Alright. Make this a little smaller. And there we go. Cool. And all Doriath lay east of Sirion, save for a narrow region of woodlands between the meeting of Teaglin and Sirion, and the Meres of Twilight. By the people of Doriath, this wood is called Nivrim, the West March. Great oak trees grew there, and it also was encompassed within the Girdle of Melian. The Girdle of Melian, you'll remember, that's that enchanted, force field border that Melian, the Maya, created for Thingol and her realm. They're married. All right. By the people of Doriath, this wood is called Nivrim, the West March. Great oak trees grew there, and it also was encompassed within the girdle of Melian, that so some portion of Sirion, which she loved in reference to Ulmo, should be wholly under the power of Thingol. In the southwest of Doriath, where Aros flowed into Sirion, lay great pools and marshes on either side of the river, which halted there in his course and strayed in many channels. That region was named Aelin Uial, the Twilight Meres, which, if you'll see, is right in the center of your screen. I'll move myself over it. To the left of me. There you go. For they were wrapped in mist, and enchantment for Doriath lay over them. For they were wrapped in mist, and the enchantment of Doriath lay over them. Now all the northern parts of Beleriand sloped southward to this point, and then for a while was plain, and the flood of Sirion was stayed. But south of Aelin Uial, the land fell suddenly and steeply. So, basically everything south of this portion to my left, this sort of mountain range area, falls steeply into a hill. And all the lower fields of Sirion were divided from the upper fields by this fall, which to one looking one looking from south to north appear as an endless chain of hills. So that's that endless chain of hills you see there. Nargothrond came through these hills in a deep gorge, and flowed over rapids, but had no fall. And on its western bank the land rose into great wooded highlands of Tower and Faroth. Taurenfaroth. Tower and Faroth. I gotta sound it out myself. Also, Lucky, don't worry about that chat. I approved that. I don't know why it blocked the word cows in the chat. Nargothrond came through those hills in a deep gorge and flowed over rapids but had no fall. And on its western bank the land rose into a great wooded area of Tower and Faroth. On the west side of this gorge were the short and foaming streams of Ringwil, tumbled headlong into the Nargothrond from the high Faroth. Finrod established Nargothrond, which we will find as soon as I get here. Where's Nargothrond? Oh shoot, where's Nargothrond? I'm gonna zoom out here for a second, folks. Sorry. Gotta find Nargothrond. Okay. Finrod established Nargothrond. But some 25 leagues east of the gorge of Nargothrond, Sirion fell from the north in a mighty fall below the meres, and then he plunged suddenly into underground tunnels where the weight of his falling waters delved, and he issued again 3 leagues southward from the great noise and smoke through rocky arches at the foot of the hills that were called the Gates of Sirion. So, just to kind of recap, because we are in a bit of, it's getting a little confusing, right? So we've got Doriath, right, sort of here in the middle, right? And then as we go further west, we get Nargothrond. That is where Finrod, right? That is where Finrod is. Yes, so Nargothrond is just above me. And we've got all of those things we were talking about. There's Ringwil, and there is Tower and Faroth just below me. Or I'm sorry, just below and to my right. So this is the region we're talking about, basically. Everything here. I'll put myself in a corner again. Also, thank you to that Trax guy. Appreciate that. He called out the Western Doriath part. That dividing fall was named Adram, the Long Wall, from Nargothrond to Ramdal, the Wall's End in eastern Beleriand. But in the east it became even less sheer, for the Vale of Galleon slopes steadily southward, and Galleon was neither fall nor rapids throughout his course, but was even ever swifter than Sirion. Between Ramdal and Galleon stood a single hill of great extent and gentle slope, but was seeming mightier than it was, for it stood alone, and that hill was named Amon Ereb, which I'm going to find for you right now. Right here in the middle, just to my left. That is Amon Ereb. So we're basically talking about this whole area here. The river is kind of winding through it. There's Ramdal, there's Amon Ereb. And again, these aren't necessarily important places, but since this entire chapter is geography, it feels important to have it here. So let's keep going. Upon Amon Ereb died Denethor, Lord of the Nandor. Not that Denethor from the movies, another Denethor. There's two. Tolkien has a thing for reusing names. Upon Amon Ereb died Denethor, Lord of Nandor, that dwelt in Osiriand, who marched to the aid of Thingol against Morgoth in those days where the orcs first came down in force, and broke the starlit peace of Beleriand, and upon that hill that Maethras dwelt after the great defeat. But south of the Amrad, between Sirion and Galleon, was the wild land of tangled forest in which no folk dwelt, save here and there a few dark elves wandering. Which I will bring up for you now, which is, I think, one of the cooler parts. Tower Imduniath. It was named the Forest Between Rivers. Which, if you were looking for a way to name your place, it is literally just between Sirion and Beleriand. So that is Tower Imduinath. Duinath. Sorry. I'm not great at pronunciation. I don't know if that's been apparent in the 12 or so hours of content we've done, but this is where we're at. All right. Let's do the River Galleon, because we are coming to it. So the River Galleon is the river you see just in the middle of the screen. Galleon was a great river, and he rose in two sources, and had at first two branches. We're going to zoom up a little bit. Oops, sorry. I might need to put myself in the right-hand corner here. Here we go. So, yeah, I'm going to make myself a little bigger since we're talking about the river part here. Galleon was a great river, which is the one you see to my right. There. And he rose in two sources, and had at first two branches. Little Galleon, that came from the hills of Himring, and Greater Galleon, that came from Mount Rerir, R-E-R-I-R, Rerir, whatever. From the meeting of his arms, he flowed south for 40 leagues before he found his tributaries. And before he found the sea, he was twice as long as Sirion, though less wide and full. For more rain fell in Hithlum and Darthonian, whence Sirion drew his waters, than in east. From Ered Luin flowed the 6 tributaries of Galleon, which we are going to talk about here. These are the tributaries on the right-hand side that you see coming up. And before he found the sea, he was twice as long as Sirion, though less full and wide. For more rain fell in Hithlum and Darthonian, whence Sirion drew his waters, than the east. From Ered Luin flowed the 6 tributaries of Galleon. Askar, that was after named Rathloriel, Thalos, Legolin, Brithor, Duilwen, and Adorant, swift and turbulent streams, falling steeply from the mountains, and between Askar in the north and Aldorant in the south, and between... Okay, I'm just going to skip that part, because these names are like... Come on, y'all. Come on, Tolkien. UI is we. Thank you. Thank you, Chris. All right, let's try this again. The land now at a point nearly midway in its course, the stream of Andorant divided and then joined again, and the island that its waters enclosed was named Tol Galleon, the Green Isle. Do I see that here? Yes, you do. Here we go. It is just to my right. Look to my right over here, just below in the bottom right-hand part of the screen. There, Beren and Luthien dwelt after their return. That's why I pointed out. That's why I pointed out, because Beren and Luthien are going to come up a little bit later, and they're important. Now we're going to talk about Assyrian, which is the whole land that is the tributaries. So you'll see all of the rivers are straight left to right names. Assyrian goes up and down, top to bottom. All right. In Assyrian dwelt the Green Elves in the protection of their rivers. For after Sirion, Ulmo loved Galleon above all the waters in the western world. Woodcraft of the elves of Assyrian was such that a stranger might pass through their lands from end to end and see none of them. They were clad in green, in spring and summer, and the sound of their singing could be heard ever across the waters of Galleon. Therefore the Noldor named that country Lindon, the land of music, and the mountains beyond them they named Ered Lindon, for they first saw them in Assyrian. Now, for those of you that have been here, I'll pause there for a second if anyone has any questions, and then we will zoom out. So we've been talking about Assyrian. If anyone seems to remember the name Lindon, and it sounds familiar to them, there is a reason why, if you have been here on the chat or the stream before. Some of my other Twitch streams have talked about the Lord of the Rings TV show. And in the Lord of the Rings TV show summary that we got a couple of weeks ago, we said we were going to explore a land called Lindon. That's this. That is this part just below me now of Assyrian. Now, what that's going to mean for the Second Age is going to be different than what we see here. But just wanted to point that out. That is a fairly important part of the land. So, feel free to ask any questions in the chat. Also, hello to everybody on TikTok. If you feel so inclined, come join us over on Twitch. We are live on Twitch. The link is in my bio. And I will put that announcement up there now. All right. So, let's read some of the comments just to kind of see if anybody's got questions. Okay, I think we're good. Telvin King asks what chapter we're on. We're on chapter 14. Círdan. Oh, yes. Lindon is where Círdan lives in the Third Age. That is correct. Yes, that is correct. All right. So I'm going to make the map a little bit bigger now because we are approaching sort of the end of the chapter, but not the end of what I want to do here. So I'm going to continue, but let's keep going. East of Darthonian, the marches of Beleriand were most open to attack, and only hills of no great height guarded the Vale of Galleon from the north. In that region, upon the march of Mithras, actually, you know what? I'm not going to make it bigger. I am going to expand it a little bit here and show you the March of Mithras, because that is right here, to my right. I'm getting better at these gestures. So the March of Mithras, that's what we're talking about right here. East of Darthonian, the marches of Beleriand were most open to attack, and only hills of no great height guarded the Vale of Galleon from the north. In that region, upon the march of Mithras, and in the lands behind, dwelt the Sons of Feyenoor, that most with many people, and their riders passed often over the vast northern plains. Lothlen, the wide and empty, east of Ardgallen, lest Morgoth should attempt any sortie upon East Beleriand. The chief citadel of Mithras was upon the hill of Himring, the ever cold. And I want to see if I can find that here. Yeah, there's Himring. Hang on. Let's expand this a bit. So this is the area we're talking about right now, to my right. Oh, sorry. So there's the March of Mithras over to my right, sort of at eye level here. And then Himring, you'll see, also at eye level. The chief citadel of Mithras was upon the hill of Himring, the ever-cold. And that was wide-shouldered, bare of trees and flat upon its summit, surrounded by many lesser hills. Between Himring and Darthonian there was a pass, exceeding steep upon the west, and that was the pass of Eglon, which you'll see just also to my right. My camera is just touching it, just about here, the pass of Eglon. Between Himring and Darthonian there was a pass, exceeding steep upon the west, and that was the pass of Eglon, and was the gate unto Doriath, and a bitter wind ever blew through the north. But Celegorm and Curufin, which are two of the sons of Feyenoord, fortified Eglon, and held it with great strength, and all the land of Himlad southward, between the river Aros that rose in Darthonian, and his tributary, Kelon, made from Himring. Between the arms of Galleon was the ward of Maglor. And I'll see if I can find that. The only map in the version I'm reading is the one saying where everyone is in the chapter. Kind of, yeah. There are different versions of the map. That is true. That is true. Between the arms of Galleon was the ward of Maglor, and here in one place the hills failed altogether. There it was that the orcs came into East Beleriand before the third battle. Therefore the Noldor had strength of cavalry in the plains at that place, and the people of Caranthir fortified the mountain, to the east of Maglor's Gap. There Mount Rayrir, which I think I saw. Here we go. Yep, I found it. It is, I'm going to try and make it a little bit bigger. Can I? Oh, I don't know if I can. Ooh. There we go. Mount Rayrir, which is just to my right over here, and Greater Galleon. Therefore the Noldor held strength of cavalry in the plains of that place, and the people of Caranthir fortified the mountain to the east of Maglor's Gap. There Mount Rayrir and about the other lesser heights stood out upon the main range of Ered Lindon westward. And in the angle between Rayrir and Mount Lindon there was a lake, shadowed by the mountains on all sides save the south. That was Lake Helivorn, which you might see just to my right there. Over there. I have to glance the opposite way. That was Lake Helivorn, dark and deep, and beside it Caranthir had his abode. But all the great land between Galleon and the mountains, and between Rayrir and the river Askar, was called by the Noldor Thargelion, which signifies the land between Galleon, or Dor Caranthir, the land of Caranthir. And it was here that the Noldor first met the dwarves. But Thargelion was before called by the grey elves Talath Ruinen, the East Vale. Thus the sons of Feyenoord, under Mithras, were the lords of East Beleriand, but their peoples were in that time mostly in the north of that land, and southward they rode, only to hunt in the greenwoods. But there Amrod and Amras had their abode, and they came there seldom northward while the siege lasted. And there also other of the elf lords would ride at times, even from afar, for the land was wild but very fair. Of these Finrod Felagund came most often, for he had great love of wandering, and he came even to Assyrian, and won the friendship of the green elves. But none of the Noldor ever went over Ered Lindon, while their realms lasted, and little news and late came into Beleriand of what passed in the regions of the east. So, we're done chapter 14. Finally, let me expand this Thank you all so much for sticking with me. This is a hard chapter to get through, and my brain was all over the place. I will expand this map to make it just a little bit easier to follow. Also, Chewbacca TV, thank you for the follow. And Corian Yeehaw, thank you for the follow. Also, The Bearded Man, thank you for the follow. And Idonix99, thank you for the follow. Also, Telvin King, thank you for the gift sub. That's very kind of you. Okay, let's make this map just a teeny bit smaller as I fade into the black ether. There we go. All right, here we go. Also, I think the wife is back. The wife is back. Hello.
It still smells like bacon.
It still smells like bacon in the house. You're right. We made bacon just before we did this. So, this is the map we're going to be dealing with for the rest of the book. We probably should have gotten this a lot earlier, but the realms were not established yet. By the way, everyone's spamming your emote.
Hello.
So, is it confusing? Absolutely. Do you need to go back and rewatch this? Definitely not. Will it help? I mean, probably. Knowing where people are is helpful. But honestly, I didn't really look at the map the first few times I read through. It is okay if you are a little bit lost or you get a little bit overwhelmed by this. I know I was when it first began. So, it is a slog to get through. You're absolutely right, Tax. But it is, I think, worth it to get through the full book. Did you zone out? A dice just fell and it rolled a natural 20. I want you to look at that right now. A dice just fell off of.
Go buy a lottery ticket. It's me.
It is you. All right. So, let's recap with text. I have a text. This is going to be fun. So, Fingolfin.
Golden.
Yes. Fingolfin, King of the Noldor. He's up here. Actually, you know what? Why don't I get... You know how I say you really don't need to pay attention to certain parts? You could potentially just watch this part. So, Fingolfin is up there. King of the Noldor. That's where he is. This is Hithlum. This is his realm. It's very exciting. I'm going to add another text. We're going to add Turgon. This is text 2. This is going to be where Turgon is. Do I have to change the text each time? Gross. All right. We'll do a little bit better. Oh, it's too big. There we go. Turgon is right here. These are where all the major players are going to be. Does this look weird?
A little bit.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's okay.
I just pushed your chair down.
That's
Sorry.
okay. That's okay. Hi, everyone.
Hey, everybody.
This is my wife, in case you're new here. All right, so we've got Turgon is there. Fingolfin is there. We've also got Finrod. Whoa, easy there, River.
Dog.
I saw another dog. It was very exciting. All right, we've got text 2 over there. Finrod is over there. We're going to make this blue again. Over there. And increase the size. And decrease it here. So, if anyone has any questions... Oh, did I make someone else's dog bark? Sorry. So, Finrod is right here. Finrod's important. Finrod's very, very important. Thingol. Got the next one. This is going to be text 3 or 4. Also, Eric Chieftain, thank you so much for the follow. Maria, who is on TikTok, if anyone feels so inclined, we are on Twitch. We are going over a map of Baleriand, which is the realm in the First Age. The text needs to go... Where's the text? Did I make the text white? Yeah, I definitely did. Oh, I didn't type anything. Thingol. There we go. I know this is a little messy. However, we're doing it in real time for maximum retention. Did I spell that right? I don't think I spelled Thingol right. Oh, I did. Look at that. Then we've got the Sons of Feyenoor. These are all of the major players. Okay. Really that you have to remember. New source. Here we go. Sons of Feyenoor. Okay. Here we go. Sons of Feyenoor are over here. Whew, okay, so now that we are thoroughly less confused, I hope, we can kind of go through the major players. The elf princes, the elf kings, the elf king, the Sons of Feyenoor. They're all here, right? They're all the major players, and this is where they are. So, if anyone has any questions, feel free to leave them in the chat. This is where I'm kind of going to sign off from YouTube. So we will see you next time for Silmarillion Sunday, which will be posted a couple of days after this video goes live. And do we have any announcements for YouTube? Oh, we are now posting videos that are not just Silmarillion Sunday. We are posting...
Yeah, we're posting guests and other things on YouTube.
Yes.
P.O. Box?
Coming next week.
Cool.
Coming next week.
That's all I got.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you.
Well, we have more content
scheduled. We will. All
Bye,
right.
YouTube.
Bye, YouTube. Thank you. And stop. Okay. Excellent. So, Twitch. We're here. Any questions? This is where we get into the confusing parts of like, what is this? You're a visual learner, so this is helpful. Glad it could help.
You have a frog named Eladin.
Where do you see that?
Telvin King? Oh, nope. Sorry. Yeah, Telvan King.
Has a frog named...
Eladon?
Eladon? Like Eladon and Elro here? That's fun. Okay, so I don't see any questions, so I think we are going to wrap up here. Next week... Very fun. We are going to talk about of the Noldor in Beleriand. Now, this is a much easier chapter to get through, and it is also only 5 pages, so we might also get to of Maeglin. Now, Maeglin is an important character and gets his own chapter. Does he deserve it? I don't know.
This person wants to know what flavor ice cream I am. Was that a conversation?
Oh, that was
earlier?
that was a conversation
Okay.
we were having somewhere.
Don, what flavor ice cream am I?
Oh, that's a lot of pressure. You are... chocolate peanut butter.
Ooh, I accept.
Yeah.
What flavor were you?
Oh, shoot, I forget. Oops. All right.
Cool.
So, yeah, I hope this helps. If you're staring at a map and you're reading it, this is basically where all of the major players are. Although, I think I totally forgot one of Fingolfin's sons.
Lurtz has raisins in it.
Lurtz does have raisins. Yeah, Lurtz is the orc.
Oh.
Yeah.
Ice cream with raisins in it?
Yeah. Oh, Fingon. That's another one. Sorry.
Somebody just asked about book chronology. So there is an Amazon wishlist down below us on Twitch that was in the correct order. Basically, the reading order is Hobbit, the original trilogy, the Silmarillion, and then from there you can really go in whatever order you choose. So if you want to read Children of Hurin, you can do that after those 5.
Yeah, I also made a TikTok about it in case you want to scroll through the channel. Okay, so we've got Fingon here. Fingon, sorry.
Did you miss somebody?
I did,
no.
and I feel very bad. So, for all of you visual learners out there, this is what's happening in the first age. And I'll probably be doing TikToks about all of these people. So, yeah, get ready. It's going to be awesome.
We don't know what content we're doing.
I have an idea. I haven't made the announcements yet, but for those of you that saw the video about The Last Ring Bearer, the published Russian fan fiction sequel to The Lord of the Rings, it's happening this week. So get ready.
What age is Children of Huron in?
Children of Huron is first age. So we are going to read about Children of Huron in this book. So get ready. It's am I going to do a video about the Ring of Barahir? Probably, yes. What's up?
I was just thinking, and this is literally me telling Dawn this for the first time,
Okay.
so enjoy with us, Twitch, that because there was so much interest in D&D, maybe I do a how-to-play stream prior to the one-shots.
Oh, that would work.
So I'm not teaching
Hey,
one-shot.
y'all, if anyone has any interest in D&D, my wife is going to be doing like a separate stream. We haven't announced like a day yet, but like what
I think I'm just going to do straight basics, like what are dice, what is a character, what is a...
Cool. So if anyone has any interest in D&D, please check out the Discord below. That's basically where we're going to go. And
we are going to be playing too. There were so many of you interested in learning how to play. I think instead of teaching you in small groups, we'll do a whole stream on like what is D&D and how do you do it, and then set up the one-shots.
Okay, that's a lot of yeses in the chat. Thank you.
Yeah, there's a lot of yeses on the Discord, hence me not wanting to do
smaller sessions
with session zeros.
Cool.
I'd rather just jump into a one-shot.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. All right, cool. So yeah, if anyone has any interest in D&D, please check out the...
Yeah, make sure you're on the Discord.
You're on the Discord.
There is a D&D stream channel. I don't know.
It's one of the text channels that's there.
Channel. Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
yeah, they're called channels.
They're called.
Yes.
That's all I got.
Also, very special thank you to Eric Chieftain, Spooky Guy Warlock, and Frosty Darude for the follows. Much appreciated. If anyone on TikTok still wants a shout out, go follow me on Twitch in the next 15 seconds. I'm just kidding. 2 minutes. Just go check it out.
You can be a tiefling. We're not going to do... There is a Lord of the Rings 5e player guide, but I want to start with just basics in case you guys want to take what I teach you and take it to a Roll20 game or an in-person game.
Yeah. Also, for those interested in finding the Discord, it is in the link in my bio in my TikTok, and it also should be, I think,
it's down below. It's
below me
down below.
In the live. If you're on mobile, I believe it is in the About section. Or if you're on the desktop.
I don't know.
Yeah, I'd have to. You know what? We don't have
our
a Discord.
bots suck.
We don't have it.
So we have two different bots. Then I think having two different bots, they've basically canceled each other out.
Yeah. You know what? We have. Let me do this while everybody is here. If they want to join, I will go into my link tree.
Grab the link.
Yeah. Can I do Linktree Don Marshall 72?
Looks like you
There
can.
we go. Okay, so here is the fan run Discord. Here is the, there's the link. There's the chat. All right, so if anyone wants to join the fan run Discord, the link is in the chat. Feel free to just click that, and that is about where we are going to wrap up. So thank you all so much. If you're not in the Discord already, please do. Michelle, thank you for the sub. Very kind of you. We are, what day are we thinking for D&D? Do you have a specific day in mind yet, or do we want to let's talk about that in the Discord. So thank you. All right, cool. So thank you all so much for joining. We appreciate you, and we will see you all later, Chilmarills. Thank you so much. Bye.